teachers and what have you who were at that time teaching young black kids. In 1926, he launched Negro History Week, which is the second week of February between the birthdays of Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln. It's also the month in which the NAACP was founded. Dr. Woodson stated, "The distortions and deletions in the American historical record as it pertains to race matters, Woodson believed was detrimental to the health of a nation whose inherent promise is life, liberty, and justice for all." It was not until after the Civil Rights Movement of the 1960s that Black History Week was taken seriously outside of the educated community and expanded into Black History Month. When the question was asked of Dr. Woodson, why have a Black History Month? His responded, and this is a direct quote, "This isn't to deny the importance of individual initiative or to lay a guilt trip on white brothers and sisters for every failure in the Black community. On the other hand, Black social mobility, or lack of it, cannot be understood without understanding the devastating impact of not only 2 centuries of slavery, but 100 years plus of organized state-supported attacks on free Black communities after slavery. Many Blacks have overcome the odds, which is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. But those who have succeeded did so in spite of being underprivileged, not because of it. Amen. Woodson died April 13th, 1950 in Washington, D.C. Known as the father of Black history, he was a Black history institution builder. He spent his life investigating, documenting, and publishing African American history. Amen. Dr. Mary MABLE Bethune, who is the founder, or was the founder and president of Bethune-Cookman College, was the president of the association that he founded for the Black history that we know today. Amen. She said his great accomplishments at the first meeting after his death in her speech, which was entitled, "The Torch is Ours." Amen. I shall read to you a portion of that speech because it explains and suggests the many things that we still must work on. The unfolding of his ideas, the implication of his ideas during these 35 years has not been an easy task. The road has been very rugged. The awakening of the darker people of America and the world to the importance of an historic knowledge of their backgrounds has called for unshakable faith and persistence and unflinching sacrifice. The results of Carter Woodson's effort and those who have journeyed with him over the rugged road have vindicated the soundness of his thinking. These results are established in the factual findings of this association as they come into increasing use in institutions of learning and among scholars and students of social progress all over the world. These results demonstrate the necessity for the vigorous and continued growth of this organization,
Amen.
the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History, which stands today as the master key to the background of the world of color.
Amen.
My heart and my mind are deeply moved by the memory of Carter Woodson, an American of my own age and generation, who came from the same plain people, close to the soil, who spent his life unearthing and recording the proud and stimulating story of their heritage.
Amen.
For the inspiration of present and future generations, and as a guide to contemporary living. From these remarks, we can say that this is a continuing type search for history.
Amen.
And then contemporary, then think about the people that are in your communities that put forth all this effort to bring us where we are today.
Amen.
It wasn't easy. It was a hard task. So when Carter Woodson passed on last April, he left behind a strongly burning torch of his hard-won and everlasting knowledge of our past, and his courage and steadfastness in adhering to the truth. He struck the torch high into the crevice of between the rocks of prejudice and discrimination, a crevice forced by the growing pressure of the facts assembled and sent far and wide by this association. It was forced by the strength of the facts that have given to us who are of Negro origin a firm foundation of pride in the past, which has contributed greatly to the forward march of civilization. It was forced by the strength of the facts that have opened in a new respect the eyes of many who have scorned or pitied us as a people without a past save that of savagery and slavery.
Amen.
So as we gather here today in our first annual meeting held without his stimulating presence, let us put our minds to the task of keeping his torch forever burning, an eternal light moving ever higher for all men to see, finding and inscribing for history the records of a race, lighting the path to the future with the incentive of a racial heritage of our high achievement. This must be the measure of our devotion to the shining spirit of our leader who has placed this torch and has gone before to rest.
Amen.
Let us thank God for him today
Amen.
as we close ranks and move forward to make our next step with the might of established facts behind us,
All right.
ever searching out new and worthy accomplishments from the dark recesses of time, ever recording what is of great merit in our contemporary life that slips away so swiftly. We become history with the passing of the hours. We must relight our own torches from Carter Woodson, bright flame, and continue to spread the truth far and near until we in our turn shall pass his saving light undimmed into the marching home of posterity. This is the words of Mary MABLE Bethune. Now, there are many, many names. But as I have mentioned before, our task is to make sure that our young people understand that this is not just a name that you just want to learn and rote, but try to find out what that person actually did. That is where the learning comes. That is where the honor is. And remember that in your contemporary life, there has to be someone who has given you that push that you needed to get ahead. And I was really impressed by the fact that usually we say from the past, present, and the future. But this was past, future, and contemporary living, which means that we should recognize the people in our own communities around here who have struggled hard, worked hard, and provided a better life for us than they had for themselves. And we should all continue to try to make it better for the young people that are going to follow us. Though sometimes it looks as if we're going to have to follow them, but we still have to keep working, pushing, and then devising plans, because I know when we were in high school, now I finished quite a few years ago, but at that time we were blessed to have a principal, Mr. William E. Ledbetter, that was a big week. We just had a week, as I finished a little bit before the 60s came along. But there were activities that were planned, and they were executed as a student body. And I shall never forget that once the old Rosenwald School burned, then we finally got a new brick building, which we thought was very, very great, and it was. But he brought into Selma for the dedication of that building a man by the name of Roscoe Simmons. He was really a politician, born in 1881, died in 1951. But he was, and his alma mater was Tuskegee Institute. And he was in a big wheel in the Republican Party back in those days. Pardon me. He was a nephew of Booker T. Washington. But I shall never forget what the title of his speech was on that day. It was simply two words: education, experience. And he would contrast some type of education and what it would mean to you if you had the experience of that. Not just learn about it, but you have to experience doing that. So what I'm hoping for is that we do not let this month now just pass away, but try to make it more meaningful in our community. And we can do this by being creative and make plans for doing so. So let us look up what the theme is going to be for 2016. Do it early, or 17 now that this is probably the last day of the month, I think. But know in advance and learn from what Carter G. Woodson did. Make a plan, not just something you throw together, and make it worthwhile and learn.